I am Lakmal, Senior QA Lead at Creative Software. First, I would like to give you a brief introduction about Creative Software. As you might know, Creative Software is a leading company in software industry in Sri Lanka. We have mainly engaged in building and managing dedicated teams of developers and testers. Also, we are Microsoft Gold partner and we are provide cloud-based solutions to our client as well. Our creatives are the force behind our success. We employ most talented developers and testers from universities. You already know about the vacancies we posted in our website. We work with clients from Europe, USA, Australia, and local clients. That's about Creative Software. Regarding the today's sessions, today's QA talk going to do by Tumsi. She has joined Creative Software recently as an associate QA engineer. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them while doing this session, and also you can use chat window to ask questions. Tumsi, you can start the session now.
Okay, thank you, Lakmal. And hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome you all once again to the Creative QA Talk session. And today's session, we are focusing on API testing and on a famous API testing tool, Postman. And let me introduce myself first. As Lakmal said, I'm Tumsi Hera. Actually, it's been 1 year and exactly 1 year to this month of May that I have entered this field of quality assurance. I joined Creative last year as an intern, and currently I'm working here as an associate QA engineer. I'm doing this session in order to share what I have found and learned for the past couple of months about this API testing. And when talking about this tool Postman, I just found it when I was researching it for my academic purposes. And this tool was very interesting, and I think it gives a better user experience. So I thought of sharing it with you. And I should say that some of you may have used these things, and maybe you guys are expert in this. And so when I'm continuing this session, please add the things that you also know about these things, and it will help me and also the others who are newer to this, and they can also gather more knowledge. That's it. And now let's start the talk. Okay, this is our agenda for the next hour. And before going directly to the tool, I would like to explain and talk with you regarding what an API is. API is first, and what is API testing. Then we'll talk about the tool Postman from the point of installation. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can, Tumsi. Guys, participants, can you please keep your mics muted when the presenter is presenting? Thank you.
Thank you, Kanchana. Then we'll talk about the tool Postman, and from the point of installation, we'll move on, and we'll discuss about the API call methods available in Postman, request methods, status codes, and how to write a test script or assertions, and the alternatives and competitors for this tool. And there are so many things. We'll start from the fundamentals, and I hope that we will be able to manage these to get the maximum benefit and discuss all these things. And I'm reminding you once again, please unmute yourselves if you have questions or anything to say, and or you can drop a message in the chat box and add the things that you guys know about the things that I'm discussing at the moment while I'm doing this session. Let's see what is an API, application programming interface, and what is an application programming interface. We'll see now. Yes, as I said, API is the acronym for Application Programming Interface, which is a software intermediary that allows two applications to talk to each other. Each time, for example, each time when you are using an app like Facebook, send an instant message, or check the weather on your phone, you are using an API, whether you knew it or not. Every time you are using these kind of things, you are using an API, whether you knew it earlier or not. When you use an application on your mobile phone, the application connects to the internet and sends data to a server. The server then retrieves that data, interprets it, performs the necessary actions, and send it back to your phone. That is the thing happening there. The application then interprets that data and presents you with the information you wanted in a readable way. Let me explain it with an example. Look at this picture for a moment and listen to what I'm saying carefully. Imagine this is you. You are sitting at a table in a restaurant with a menu of choices to order them. This guy already has got his food, but just imagine that you are with your menu and the kitchen. Here is the kitchen. The kitchen is the part of the system that will prepare your order. You are not going directly to the kitchen and prepare your food and come back to the table and eat it. When you're at a restaurant, it's not your house. I'm talking about a restaurant. This is the place where you want a waiter. He will do it for you. He'll get your order and go to the kitchen, give it to them, and take the response. That means the order, that the thing that you requested, and he comes and give it to you. That is what is happening there, and we can say that the waiter is the messenger or the API that takes your request or order and tell the kitchen, that means the system, what to do. Then the waiter delivers the response back to you. In this case, it is our food, the thing that we ordered. Hope you got it. And look at this also. At the most basic level, an API is a set of rules that dictate how one application communicates with another. APIs aren't that new either. Whenever you use a PC, or APIs are what makes it possible to move data between different applications. For instance, by copying a link from an email into a Microsoft Word document, low-level APIs are what make it possible for applications like Excel or Dropbox or whatever to run an operating system like Windows in the first place. And on the web, you can think of APIs like a telephone system. When one application wants to get information from another, it gets that data by calling the second application. That means the second application's API. For example, if you wanted to build an application that showed users the nearest restaurants that their friends like, you could use the Yelp app to get the restaurant data, and the Facebook API to get data about what the user's friends like. And when the user opened the app created by you, the application's code would call the Yelp and Facebook APIs to get the data that is needed. Here are some more examples. I hope that you have used PayPal to pay for something directly within an e-commerce store. I know that it's a yes. So that's also an API at work. Just like with logging in using a social media service, the Pay with PayPal functionality is built with APIs to ensure that the end application can only do what it needs to do without being exposed to sensitive data or gaining access to the unintended permissions. When the user clicks the PayPal button or icon, the application sends an order request to PayPal API specifying the amount owed and other important details, and then a pop-up authenticates the user and confirms their purchase. Finally, finally, if everything goes as planned, the API sends confirmation of payment back to the application. That is what is happening there. For more examples, you have reservations, air ticket, airline reservations, Twitter bots, weather snippets. These things you have already used. And now let's get an understanding about what API testing is. API testing is actually a kind of software testing type that validates application programming interfaces. That means the purpose of this API testing is to check the functionality, reliability, performance, and security like things of the programming interface. In API testing, instead of using standard user inputs, and outputs, you use software to send calls to the API, get output, and note down the system's response. We'll definitely talk about them within few minutes later. For now, just keep that fact in your mind. It mainly concentrates on the business logic layer of the software architecture. I think you guys know about those layers of software architecture. Okay. In order to test an API completely, it's important to understand what the limitations are for each request in the API. Finding, testing, and verifying those limits is crucial to making sure that the API will behave in a way that users expect, and that the API cannot be exploited by malicious users to get information they should not have access to. Here in this slide, I have mentioned some questions to ask the API developer when collecting information about an API. First one is what endpoints are available. Simply, an endpoint is one end of a communication channel. The place that API send request and where the resources lives is called an endpoint. I'll show the examples when I'm doing the demo using Postman tool. For now, just get that fact. And the next one is what HTTP verbs can I use with those endpoints? And what response codes should I expect for a successful response request? And what response codes should I expect for an unsuccessful request? And for a minute, I'll just stop here and explain you what are response codes. Let me show you now. When a search engine or a website visitor makes a request to a web server, a 3-digit HTTP response status code is returned. I think that most of you are familiar with 404 not found, right? This code indicates that what is about to happen. A response code of 200. For example, a response code of 200 means, okay, here is the content you were asking for, and that is a successful request code. And here, the status codes, some of the status codes are mentioned. The status code provides information about the status of the request, and it also helps to identify the cause of the problem when a web page or other resource does not load properly. Some of the common status codes are like 200 when the server successfully processed the request. Generally, this means that the server provided the requested page. And 404, this means the server can't find the requested page. There are 5 types. The hundreds are normally informational status codes, and 200s are like the success status codes. In 300s, you can say that they are redirecting you. You may be, you might know about 301, and 400s are client errors, 500s are server errors. That's all about status codes for now. And Okay, now you know that API testing is a software testing practice that tests the APIs directly from their functionality, reliability, performance, and security. Normally, API automation testing requires an application that can be interacted via an API. In order to test an API, you will need to use testing tool to drive the API and write your own code to test the API. Sometimes you can use the templates, and API consists of sets of classes, functions, procedures, which represent the business logic layer. And okay, these are some famous API testing tools. A variety of tools can be used for this purpose, and it is also possible to write API tests directly into code. But the advantage of API tools is that they are easy to use and provide a way to visualize the response. You will see that when I'm doing the demo. And as I said earlier, we need a tool for API automated testing. There are so many tools for that, as you can see here also. There are a few of them I have mentioned here, and we should identify our requirements and capabilities first. And then we need to choose a testing tool which suits the best for our purpose. Today, in this QA talk, I have planned to lay up the foundation by discussing the fundamentals of API testing with the tool Postman. Let's see what can we do with Postman now. The software world is full of APIs of different types and with different purposes. Postman is a tool that we can use to access and test any API we want to. Postman provides multiple features and capabilities that have to do with APIs. And let's see what we can do with this. What is Postman? This is a quote that I have quoted from their website, postman.com. I'll put the links, every link in the chat box after the session. Just pay a visit there. You can gather so much information from there as well. According to the surveys and the user experiences and feedbacks of the users, Postman is considered to be the easiest API testing tool to use. It has a 100% free version that can be downloaded quickly, and there are also paid versions for teams, and there is a web version also. Runscope and SoapUI, you may have heard those things, and they are two other popular tools. That means some competitors for Postman. We'll talk about the alternatives and the competitors at the end of the discussion. For now, we'll see about Postman. Why should we use this tool? These are a few reasons that why we should choose Postman over the other tools. I'll explain few. As you can see, accessibility is advantage or a reason that we should use Postman. That means to use Postman tool, one would just need to log into their own accounts, making it easy to access their files anytime, anywhere, as long as a Postman application is installed on the computer. They can use their web versions also. And when talking about the collaboration, collections, I'll talk about collections later. Collections are like some test suites and environments that can be imported or exported, making it easy to share files. A direct link can also be used to share the collections. And when talking about automation testing through though the use of the collection runner or Newman, tests can be run in multiple iterations, saving time for repetitive tests or assertions. And let's get started. Let's see how to install this quickly. First, you have to go to this link, their site. There you can download this Postman application. You can download the app to quickly get started using the Postman API platform, or if you prefer a browser experience, you can try their new web version of Postman also. And this is simple, and you just need to follow their basic instructions. All of us have installed these kinds of applications many times, right? So just follow the instructions and go ahead. I'm just showing this. And in this window, you can sign up for a Postman account. And there are two ways to sign up for a Postman account. One is to create an own Postman account, and the other is to use a Google account. Though Postman allows users to use the tool without logging in, signing up ensures that your collection is saved and can be accessed for later use. Next, you can customize this as you wish. Save your changes and customizations, and you can move ahead. Okay, now you are signed up now, and now let's see what's inside. I just used screenshots of this installation process in order to save the time. I think it's not necessary to download it again and show you now, since I have already downloaded the application, right? Okay, now we are here at the entrance. Let's see what is there inside. First, let me show a few things that you should get familiar with before start using Postman. This is the workspace, Postman workspace that opens after creating a new project. Let's explore it step by step. Here you can see new. This is where you will create a new request, a collection, or environment. And in import, this is used to import a collection or environment. There are options such as import it from a file, folder, link, or paste for text. And here you can choose your API call method. You can enter that, as I said earlier, I hope you can remember the endpoint, your URL, the thing that you need to test. You have to enter your URL here, and you can send the request by using this button. And here you have collections. It organize your test suite by creating collections. Creating collections means creating a test suite, and each collection may have subfolders and multiple requests. A request or folder can also be duplicated as well. And here you can check your history. And here you can add the parameters needed for a request, such as key values. And here you can add your tickets and authorization details, like password or bearer token or something like that, for proper authorization purposes. And here you can add assertions or tests for your test cases. And these are the API call methods that are available in Postman. Since the time is limited, I won't be able to cover them all today, but I'm planning to show the behavior of Postman with the most common get and post requests via theme. Before going further, let me quickly give a brief idea about the API call methods that we saw in the workspace. The HTTP verbs comprises a major portion of uniform interface constraints, and most common ones are post, get, put, fetch, and delete. These correspond to create, read, update, and delete, or the CRUD operations, I think you might have heard, respectively. And there are a number of other verbs too, as I showed earlier, but are utilized less frequently. Options and header are also used more often than the others. Let's get started working with GET requests now. GET requests are the most common and widely used methods in APIs and websites. Simply, the GET methods are used to retrieve data from a server at the specific a specified resource, and since a GET request is only requesting data and not modifying or deleting or doing anything else to the resources, it is considered as a safe method. And testing an API with GET requests is a bit easier, I think, than the other operations. When you are creating tests for an API, the GET method will be the most frequent type of request made by the users of the service. So it is important to check every known endpoint with a GET request. When working with GET request, we should do two things. That means we should keep in mind two things. That is, one is we have to check that a valid GET request returns the valid status code, and the other thing is to ensure that a GET request to a specific resource returns the correct data. It should give what we ask. We should get what we requested. GET is often the default method in HTTP clients. So creating tests for these resources should be simple with any tool you choose. When working with GET request, remember that GET request method is used to get a resource from the server, and GET request cannot have a message body, but you still can send data to the server using the URL parameters. And GET request should only receive data. As I earlier said, it should only receive data. If you want to change data on the server, you can use a post, put, patch, or delete like other methods. And GET method is defined as idempotent. That means that multiple identical GET requests should have the same effect as a single request. I'll demo everything, but for now I'm just showing this screenshot. In Postman, you can make API request and examine the responses without using a terminal or writing any code. You create a request and click send. The API response appears inside the Postman user interface. To send your first API request, you have to open Postman, and you can here you can see the plus button. You can open a new tab, and you can select the API call method from here. We are using we want to send a GET request, so we are using GET here. And you have to enter the URL in URL field. You have to enter your endpoint here, and then you can click send. You will see the JSON data response here in the lower pane. And as I said earlier, we should mainly check those two things. First one is the status code, and the next one is we have to ensure a GET request to specific resource returns the correct data. For that, we can use assertions. Now, before moving to talk about the post request, we'll talk about adding assertions to our test. What are assertions? The role of assertions is to identify bugs in a program or your application or whatever the thing that you are testing. Ideally, testing of a program will find the bugs in a program even without the aid of assertions. In practice, the major benefits of assertions is to make testing more effective. As an assertion that is never executed tells you nothing, and assertion is only useful if the code path containing it is executed, assuming the code is being properly tested. It's like a kind of a Boolean expression at a specific point in a program, which will be true unless there is a bug in the program. Assertions make Postman a great utility tool to create integration tests for REST API endpoints. And depending on the output of these assertions, we can see if a test can either pass or fail. Here, to create an assertion, you can first create a GET request for the above URL as I did earlier, and just place the endpoint you want to test and write the assertion. Once the request is configured, try clicking send to ensure that the request is correctly set up and you are getting some response. And then you can add a test to the request from here. Then I'll show everything practically while doing the demo. This is just a screenshot. And I have to say that writing tests with the Postman provides a lot of power and flexibility in the hands of developers or the quality assurance person who is working on performing end-to-end tests for a particular API endpoint. But just like the saying, too much of anything is good for nothing. Too much of granular assertions for the response received can sometimes result in the Postman test being flaky, as a slight change of the code will make the test fail. And so before adding a test into Postman, it is wise to understand the implications of the test being added. And we must ensure that only absolute essential fields or validations should be covered as a part of assertion to avoid flakiness in the test results for further executions. That's it about assertions. And this let's get an understanding about working with the POST requests. POST is a request method supported by HTTP, used by the World Wide Web by design. The POST request method requests that a web server accepts the data enclosed in the body of the request message, most likely for storing it. It is often used when uploading a file or when submitting a completed web form. You have filled forms. I hope you can understand that. And POST requests are different from GET requests, as there is a data manipulation there. In GET requests, you are just retrieving what is there. Here you can create. Here you have a process of data manipulation. So using the same endpoint, I have here added as example for POST request also. You can get a new tab, then you can change this to POST, then you can enter your endpoint, and you have to switch this to body tab, and you have to choose row here and use JSON here. Then from the you can copy and paste just one user result from the previous GET request, like this, and ensure that the code has been copied correctly with paired curly braces and brackets, and change this to 11. There were 10 users in the earlier request, so I took this as 11. And then you can click send. Status code 201 has appeared here. That means your new user has been created. Okay, let's see what a collection is. Collections play an important role in organizing test suites. You can organize your test cases and test suites by using folders like things in here. It can be imported and exported also. It is easy to share because of that. And here we will learn how to create and execute a collection also. There are two ways to run a collection, which is the collection runner and Newman. Let's begin by executing the collection in collection runner. Let's go for the demo now. Hope you guys can see my screen. Lakmal.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you. This is the I have opened my application here, and this is the home page. I'm going to create a new request here, and by this point also you can create a new one. You can use here also, and let me first create a collection. Let's rename it. Here you can add a request here. First, I'm going to create a get request. Let me get the endpoint. I'm using this URL to create the get request. I choose this as get, and I'm going to create a get request now. Here you can see my 10 users given in this URL. I have run this request successfully. You can see 200 here, and the time is given here. Now let's add a assertion for this. To add an assertion, there are templates. That means snippets here. You can choose the thing that you want to add as a test from here. I'll choose this one. That means I want to check whether the status code is 200 or not. This compares with it and gives the result. I can click on send again. I can see the test results from here. I have this test is passed. You can see it here. You can write your own code here, or you can use the code snippets from here, the templates that they have given. And I'll rename this. And let me create another request. I'll rename it as post. And I'm going to enter the URL again here. And as I said earlier, we have to choose this body tab and then row. I'm going to select this as JSON, and we can choose this as post. I have taken 2 here. I only need 1, so I'm removing this person. I just want to create just 1 user, so I'm removing it, and make sure that you are putting your brackets in the correct way. Right, I'm going to create a new user now. Let me send this and see the result. Let me change this to I'm creating a new user whose ID is 12 and name is Tumsi. I'm sending the request again. Here you can see that you have created a new user. You can confirm it by checking the status. here you can see 201 created. And here also you can add assertions. That means tests. Let's take this one. Here, the response time is less than 200 milliseconds. That is the thing that I am going to test here. But you can see the time here is 381 milliseconds. Let's run this and see what is going to happen. Right, you can see that I have this test case is failed because the time taken is 381 milliseconds, but I have put these assertions to check whether it's below 200. These two are not matching, therefore the test get failed. Let's add another one. Let's check whether this is a successful post request. This is a post request, of course. So the test got passed. That is how you create assertions. You use get and post requests. Now let's run a collection and see what is going to happen. This is the collection that we made right now. I want to run this collection. That means you're going to run all here. We just have 2 requests, but when considering a real project test suite, there are so many requests. I can choose the iteration. That means the number of times you want to iterate the test, and you can here you can adjust the delay time as test without delay may cause errors. And let's run this and see what is going to happen. Okay, something went wrong there. I'm just running my first collection that I have created previously. Here also you can see the passing test status codes and the failing ones. You can get test reports by using Postman as in the other tools. And another thing is that here you can see the authorization. That means authorizing requests. APIs use authorization to ensure that client request access data securely. This can involve authenticating the sender of a request and verifying that they have permission to access or manipulate the relevant data. I forgot to explain that earlier. This is also an important thing that we can identify here. And another nice feature is monitoring. Here you can see monitoring is a way to stay up to date on the health and performance of your APIs. Postman's built-in monitoring service helps you to consolidate and additional steps in your API development lifecycle. Normally here it monitors, the Postman monitors are based on collections. Monitors can be scheduled as frequently as every hour for free plans or even every 5 minutes for paid plans, and will run through each request in your collection. Similar to the collection runner, and you can also attach a corresponding environment with variables you'd like to utilize during the collection run. That's all I have here to demonstrate for you.
Do you have any questions
And
up now?
Lakmal, another thing, there are several tools that we can use to manage access, develop and test the APIs, and Postman is a very good option. No matter if you are a technical or non-technical tester, the easy and quick onboarding makes Postman one of the testers' best tool friends. And Postman has interesting and innovative functionalities, as you saw earlier, that are very helpful, and there are much more. And this is smart and stylish. These smart and stylish interfaces provides an excellent user experience. I would like to say just give a try and explore more. And that's all for the day. Thank you so much for participating in this session. Hope that I was able to enhance your knowledge in some way. Since we are running out of time, I just reduce some contents also, and we can't discuss the things right now. But if you have any queries, you can email me, or if you have any other doubts, so whatever you can. Whatever you want to say, you can use this meeting chat box to write to me, and I would love to respond. And thank you so much, Lakmal and Kanchana, for this opportunity. Thank you all.
Yeah. Any questions from the audience?
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Tarak, and very first I want to say good luck to Tumsi. And
Thank you.
I'm having one question. Like, have you guys integrated the test results with any quality dashboard or something like that with Postman?
Not yet actually, but these days there is an initiative to integrate several tools. Like in Creative, we have been using SoapUI, JMeter, and some other tools. So currently, we are working on getting all the result into a common dashboard to see the status of the request and the responses.
All right. So the Postman is facilitating for that, right?
Yeah, Postman itself it has a feature, but as I mentioned earlier, since we have been using several tools, so
you mean
because of that,
entire set of tools we are using, right?
yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions? Hope there are no any other questions. So thank you, Tumsi. It's a good presentation and demo.
Thank you, Lakmal.
So I think we can wrap up this session.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for participating again. Thank you, and have a nice day.